Hello, I am Victor Bankole, and this is Beam in 10 minutes. So, quickly, what we're going to be looking at today is how to set up a project in Navisworks, how to um, scale our drawing sheets in Navisworks, and how to create a template catalog for quantification in Navisworks. Let's get started. Now, to set up a project in Navisworks, there are quick and very easy steps, and it's important that you know that it's without setting up a project, without setting up your quantification workbook, it's going to be impossible to carry out quantity takeoff estimating inside of Navisworks. And how you do that, like I said earlier, it's pretty simple. You simply navigate to the bottom left of your screen and you click on project setup. And for those that don't have the quantification workbook turned on, it's simple. How you get that up is basically by trying to navigate through until your cursor is on quantification. You tap on quantification and you notice there is a pop-up at the bottom of the screen and you find project setup at the bottom left of your screen. So you click on project setup. Now it's important that you know for those that already have an existing office template or one that you've built during the trainings, you can load them into your Navisworks workbook at the bottom here by clicking on browse to catalog, and you will notice that this pops up your window. Then you are then prompted to click on the workbook you want to load into Navisworks. But for those that don't have a template already, then you come here to use a tested catalog. You select none because the goal of this short training is to help us to build templates from first principle. So you make sure that you're on none, then you click on next. And it's important that you keep it on metrics. Metrics basically means meters and millimeters, while in Peria it's feet and inches, UK, US. So you also click on next, like I used to say during the trainings. Basically, this next stage sort of confirms your configuration. It asks the question: do you want your model lengths to be reported in meters? Do you want your model areas to be reported in square meters? Do you want your volumes to be reported in cubic meter? That's exactly what I want. Then I click next. Then here I click finish. And after doing all of that, you will notice that now I have a blank quantification workbook. I have a blank item catalog. I also have a blank resource catalog. Then, because I want to build a quantification catalog from first principle, I navigate through to item catalog. Remember, as a principle, you can only edit in item catalog, while you can also only run your quantification sessions in quantification workbook. You cannot edit your workbook while you are in quantification workbook. You can only do that in your item catalog, and you cannot quantify while you're in item catalog. You can only do that when you have your quantification workbook on. Good. So the next stage is to build an item catalog. I have here my drawing, which is a foundation drawing showing the layout of the ground beam, and I want to create a group called substructure. I want to create a subgroup called excavation and filling. I also want to create a subgroup for concrete works where I'm going to also create an item for ground beam, and also I'm going to try and set up this page for quantification. So let's get started. So I navigate through to new group. I click on new group and I say substructure. You can keep this on caps lock. You can keep it on all block letters and you can write it this way. It depends on how you want it laid out. So there is so much of flexibility inside of Navisworks. So you can format it in whatever style that best suits you or the office. Then after creating a new group, I also create a subgroup on the substructure and I call it excavation and filling. And after I've done that, I can create an item under excavation and filling and call it topsoil excavation. Create another item here and call it trench excavation. Beautiful. Now, I haven't done that. I'm going to create another subgroup, and it's important that you take note of this when you need to use groups and subgroups and when you need to use items. Basically, groups, they out your items, and like I said in the last module, the module on aligning PDFs in Navisworks, I remember saying that you can only have your quantities attached to items. Your quantities are not attached to your groups. So you try as much as possible to ensure that your items are the final level of detail that houses your quantities. You know, I cannot have quantities attached to excavation and filling because this is a folder structure, a folder name, but I will require quantities attached to topsoil excavation and trench excavation because these are takeoff items that have measurements in the houses or host measurement informations. So having done this, I'm also going to create a subfolder for my concrete works. Sorry about the spelling. Yeah, I've gotten it right. I'm then going to create an item for ground beam and also make my ground slab an item. Beautiful. Now, this is good structure. I think this is good enough for us to work with. Like I often say with Navisworks, the structure, the flow is the same. Um, how you run quantification sessions or exercises for items on your takeoff list, it's follows the same pattern. So if you can take off for trench excavation, you can take off for your concrete. It's the same flow, and it's for 3D model items. You basically click on what you want to quantify, and you do a drag and drop, or you right click and say quantify. And for 2D, which is the in this case, we are working with a 2D PDF drawing. For 2D, you map using your polyline. You try and map around the area you want to extract quantities from, and you right click and you say quantify. So let's get started. I think we've completed the first goal, the first objective of the training, which is to set up our quantification workbook. At this point, we've also completed the second, which is to build up a catalog, and also just to add on the catalog, there are icons denoting groups and items denoting subgroups, and also icons denoting items. You will notice with groups you have more like two folders lapped on each other. With items, you will notice it's more like just a single file. So this helps you to know when you have a group